In this video, we're going to talk about SpaceX here really quick before we head on to other stocks. So basically tomorrow, June 16th, Tuesday, you get options here in SpaceX. We get a full options market. That is good news for us. So basically Friday and Monday, all you could do is really buy stock or then sell the stock. You can't short it or anything like that. Tomorrow, Tuesday, you can do all of that. Also, the IPO, the way it was set up, a lot of the big boys and the insiders, you usually with IPOs, you have to hold it for a certain amount of days, 30, 60, 90 days, whatever, before you're allowed to sell or things like that. With SpaceX, you had to wait a certain amount of the stock to rise a certain percentage. Obviously, all that is going to hit. And then tomorrow, you're going to have basically a full-fledged market in here now where you're actually going to get things that are actually going to be priced in, right? So we're going to see what SpaceX is actually worth, what the speculatory number is going to be going forward, and then how the derivatives are going to shake things out below that, giving us our expected moves and things like that. So more or less, moral of the story in here, a lot of volatility tomorrow, and also on top of that, you're going to get a lot of volatility. So you can kind of just sit back and relax and just kind of wait for your trades. You don't have to really chase anything because your number is going to get hit throughout the day, I'm sure. And then also you're going to get a lot of call skew in here. So we always talk about we talk a lot about volatility and the overall skew. The normalized skew is it towards the puts, is it towards the calls. In SpaceX, you're going to get a huge call skew, I'm sure, just because 150 to 200 in a couple days, right? Everybody is all on board with SpaceX. The number is through the roof in here, right? So you're going to get loaded up here with call skew, which means that your calls are going to trade richer or for more rather than your puts. Okay, but also that means that your call spreads, they're going to give you less, right? So they're going to trade cheaper than your put spreads are. So you have to keep that in mind as you're playing this. Yes, you're going to have a call skew. Yes, your calls are going to be worth more. Your puts are going to be worth less because that's where your risk is to the upside in here. That's where all the speculation and everything is. But also those spreads, the call spreads to the upside in here, they're going to be worth less rather than your put spreads. So keep that in mind as we're going into this tomorrow. Basically on the weekly chart, not really a whole lot to work with here. 193 up on the day, but obviously in after hours, we are well above 200. So we're going to see where we open up tomorrow. Is the number going to be 205, 210, 220, what have you? I would expect some profit taking in here tomorrow now that everybody is going to get in here. They're going to short. You can use options to be strategic now in getting in better price. So we're going to see what type of a pullback, if any, we get in here, or if we're going to get some consolidation in here. But basically, kind of the line in the sand in here is 200. Anything below there, 193. And then nothing's really stopping us until you get down here back to that 176, 177 area. Now, another stock that is affected by SpaceX, it's going to be this ticker symbol ASTS. We saw last Friday, basically SpaceX goes up, ASTS goes down. We're going to see if that correlation is going to stay as we continue throughout the weekend here. To the downside, we're looking at the lower trend line of this overall structure in here. That's going to be at that 80. We might have to go down there and kiss that one more time, get a little bounce in here, and then work our way to the upside. We're going to see how that shakes out, but that is what we're looking at here. To the downside, anything below there, we're looking at that 50-day SMA sitting here at 75. To the upside in here, we're looking at that 9-day EMA at 89.80, and then above there, nice whole number of 100 for us in here. We're going to keep that as a nice psych level for us, and then anything outside of there, 102, and then obviously up here sitting at that 120. We're also going to look at one more stock in here, kind of a boring stock, but when it does move, you get some decent moves in here. So so far, Costco, we're sitting here at 980, more or less flat on the day. We are down. We were trading in those 972s, little pop in there towards the end of the day. And then that gets us right up here next to this 980. Anything outside of here, we're looking at that 990. That's that 9-day EMA. And then obviously above there, we're looking at 1,000, but really 1,007 is kind of the number in here to watch. Anything above that, we are going to be looking at 1,066. But to the downside in here, this 50-day SMA seems to be holding. So let's see what happens in here as we start to pull back in here. Are we going to get a bounce off that 960, or are we going to hit 1,000 first before we have to pull back? So that's kind of what we're looking at in here in these three stocks. Again, everybody's gonna be talking about SpaceX tomorrow just because we get an options chain and some options in here tomorrow. Let's see how we can use that to our advantage and our overall portfolios. All right, guys, if you like this video, make sure to check us out on all of our social media. We also have a Discord service if you are interested, and you can find all of our socials in the description below.